Day one, Mr. Slayer. Day one.
Yeah, I will just say this to warn everybody. There are no alerts, so bits, subs, all that kind of stuff ain't gonna show up. There's obviously no stream loots because that wouldn't really make sense for this. We do love you, chat, but we're also not really going to be reading chat for the most part. We have the questions on our monitors that you guys have given us via, it was my Discord in the podcast questions one. We also have an outline of stuff that we want to talk about as well. Um, I guess towards the end we could start taking some more questions and stuff, and maybe chatting a bit with the chat.
Yeah.
Um, but for the most part, we're just going to be running through all this. And obviously, this is our first attempt at this, so we do apologize if it's not smooth or anything, because like it was real funky towards the end, like half an hour beforehand. My camera was going just, yeah, it was broken. It was
Technical
broken.
difficulties are a thing.
Yeah, so we hope to get this smoothen out, and we'll see where this goes. We'll see where this goes from this point on. Um, so I guess we'll start off with how has your day been, Mr. Tator?
It's been good. It's raining a lot, so it's good weather to take a nap. But unfortunately, there's just too much to do, man. Just too much to do. So, how
The
about you?
weather's just been boring. Yeah, it's just been boring and hot and stuffy and not fun at all. And I've got the key lights on, so my room is extra hot right now. But if I didn't have the key lights on, then the green screen would be trashy. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
I do want to sort this out at some point so that my screen isn't like black behind and you can actually see the background behind it. But we shall see. We shall see. Okay, let's move on to the first question we have. Well, actually, this is one that I have, and I thought it would be good to start with this because this is a question that comes up a lot. And that is, how did you discover Cosmic and how did you eventually end up becoming admin because of it?
Ooh, okay. So how did I discover Cosmic? So I actually didn't start actually logging into Minecraft until the later year of 2016.
So
So
you're still a newbie.
I am. So it's funny because so how I found Cosmic. So basically, when Pokemon Go came out in 2016, I started watching some YouTubers, and one of the YouTubers I actually watched was Lachlan. So I was watching Lachlan do Pokemon
He
Go in
was, yeah,
Australia.
he was really big with the Pokemon Go. That
He
blew up,
he
like
did it like
crazy.
crazy. So I
Yeah.
loved watching Lachlan play it because it was just hilarious. He'd be out at night with his brother, and they'd just be driving around, and it was just funny content. Funny content. So I started watching his YouTube Pokemon Go videos, and then one day he flew out to Canada and stayed with Rob, with Woofles,
Yeah.
and he did a couple Pokemon Go videos with Rob. And of course, when they collaborate, they do the whole "Hey, check Rob out." So I checked Rob out, and one of the first things that I noticed with his channel, because at that time it was burgers on Spirit Planet. So he was playing on Spirit with John Sandman, with Beanie, with Treyarch, and with all them guys. So I was like, man, this is interesting. I was like, this is Minecraft, like, because I never played it before. So I watched some of his series. I caught up with some of his older videos, and then about maybe a couple months later, my son, who at the time was 6, 7, wanted to play Minecraft. So bought an account off Mojang and installed it on the computer in the living room, and then I logged into the online version on my computer, and I went straight to Cosmic. For whatever reason, went to Void Planet on PvP. Don't know why, but that's just the planet that I chose. And then, I mean, the rest is history. So how I became admin off that, I literally just played for a few seasons, played as a player, um, ended up applying. I found out about how you can apply to be like a helper. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So I applied to be a helper. Never really heard anything about it. Took like 3 4 months. Nothing heard about it. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then I had to join the team speak to deal with an issue that I was having with one of my fellow leaders in the faction that I was in. And through that, I actually talked with Yipperin directly. And we were super chill, had a couple decent conversations. And then there was a time after that where I actually came into the team speak to report a staff member that was abusing something. And that was great because it was the good old, hey, don't blame my staff for stuff. But at the same token,
Yeah.
I was like, listen, I get it. I just want to make sure you're aware. So she took the time to look it up, ended up finding out the staff member was doing what I said they were doing. And that staff member got banned / demoted. And then I want to say like a few weeks after that is when I got pulled in, pulled in, and it was a staff interview. And I was like, oh, okay. And that was August of 2017, I want to say.
Mm.
And then a year later, I was admin. So August 2018 is when I started admin. So.
Actually crazy that it don't feel like that long ago, because like I remember when you became staff and I was like, yo, this is like one of the actual like oldest staff members we actually have, like as a staff member. Like, and that's not meant in any bad way whatsoever. But that was just the case. That was literally just the case. It was just like, because the majority of the staff team is like in their 20s or their teens.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just rocked up and I was like, okay, see how this goes. And then I think, oh gosh, when was it that I actually like started properly like chatting with you?
I don't know,
like,
because
I want to say it was like early 2018.
yeah, I don't know, because I just know that like I was staff for a little bit. I was helper. It was funny because while I was helper, I had a lot of like issues between me and at the time, oh God, what was his name? I can't remember his name now. Falling Angel. Falling Angel. There was like a lot of beef between his faction and my faction, and because of that, there was just a lot of like drama in the staff side, and not because I was creating it or anything, but just because I was involved in it. So it was just funny to have to deal with that. And then got mod not that long after, was mod for a while. I want to say I got ban team like right before I started streaming. And then
yeah, because didn't you do that like ban team like stream or something where you were like banning hackers or something? Or was that your video?
I don't think I did. I did a stream where I was going to try to do it because I was trying to bring back the hack busters, but
yeah, I love the hack
it didn't. No, it didn't work. So, but yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I want to say probably beginning to like the end of the first quarter in 2018 is when we started like properly like having conversations and hanging out, because I want to say it was after the jungle map where, cause it was the lovely days.
The lovely
It was
days.
the lovely
I remember
days.
that so much. I loved that.
It was always the lovely days. It's like, hey Tator, good morning. It's a lovely day.
Yeah.
God dang it! What did y'all do?
I'm bringing that video up right
what
now.
did y'all do?
I know I don't have the link to it, but I know if I literally just search Yiprin and Slayer on YouTube, I'll find it. Oh, no, Yiprin and Slayer. Yiprin. I have to put Excess Slayer. Excess Slayer. Here we go. Here's the video. So I don't know if anybody in the chat has ever seen this video before. Let me get this up. So this right here is the lovely days. I don't know. Have you got it up on your stream, Tator?
I don't know. I don't have a section for it created.
Oh, gosh, Tator, gosh.
I'm slacking.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna play it, and then you guys can see this as well. So this is what Tator's talking about here. Is the lovely days. The video on YouTube is Extra Slayer and Yiprin go on an adventure. This was so good. I loved this. Hey, what was Rob's back? Yeah, I remember that.
So rude. So rude.
We had so much fun doing this though. We would like it got to the point though that you guys were like legitimately so like scared of us that you wouldn't even mess with us when we were doing it. Because you knew if you messed with us when we were doing it, we would just do it tenfold. And would like your work would just like increase dramatically. It was beautiful. It was so much fun.
Just so methodical and so annoying. Horrible. Horrible.
It was great because we'd spend like 2, 3, maybe sometimes 4 hours on a morning when it was quiet doing this, and then it would equate to you guys having days of work.
The worst. Oh my gosh, so bad. The worst. And the worst part was always the inside. Like it was the
Hmm.
interior that
Yeah.
was so bad.
So yeah, I do think it was after this because basically I remember doing this and then I remember finding out that you actually streamed because I didn't know until this point that you actually streamed.
Yeah.
So I remember that happened and then I was like I can't remember. I think I was talking to Erin and I was like I want to go mess with them, meme with them about it. And Erin was like, "Well, Tator's streaming right now," and I was like, "Tator streams?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay." I think I literally hopped into your chat and then just started screwing with you, and you was like, "Yeah, fudge you."
Of course. Stream sniping from the beginning.
It was so fun though. It was so fun. Um, but yeah, because then I remember you started streaming, and then I started streaming beginning of 2018. Was it 2018?
No, I started
Oh,
July
2019. Yeah.
2018.
Yeah. So it was 2019 that I said, yeah. All right, I guess we'll move on to my story then now. So I originally started playing Minecraft. It was back in 2013, 14. Um, yeah, 2013, 2014. I started playing on Hypixel. Well, actually, no, I started playing Minecraft on the Xbox because I'm a terrible person. Um, because back then I was a console player and I would always play stuff like Call of Duty. My favorite Call of Duty was Call of Duty Ghosts on the Xbox. And I loved that one a lot. I actually got to max prestige. That was the first Call of Duty I ever got to max prestige on was Call of Duty Ghosts. To this day, I regret like resetting my account just to get that calling card that literally had an eraser on it, going back to level prestige 1, level 1 from max prestige. I regret that so much. But anyways, yeah, I played Minecraft on the Xbox, and then 2013, 2014, I started playing on Hypixel. Specifically, the game mode I loved the most was Mega Walls, and I played that a lot, like a lot, a lot, a lot. Um, and then I remember I was watching YouTube. I was watching some random videos, um, and I was like half falling asleep at the point. So it was just kind of, I was going down the YouTube rabbit hole of the next suggested video. Um, and what happened to come up was one of Wuffle's or Rob's factions videos. And I remember I was like half asleep watching it, and then I started passing out, and then they screamed for some reason, and it woke me up. And then at that point, I just watched like the next 3 hours of just those videos. I was just like, just watching them. Because at first I was like, what the frick was that? And then I was like, oh, okay, this is actually quite interesting. This is actually quite interesting. Um, and then I ended up watching those videos for quite some time, and I was definitely a fanboy back then when it came to Robin Preston, without a doubt. Um, and I was like, yeah, I want to play this. I actually want to join. And I remember joining, and it was when the only planets that existed were alien and lava.
Oh wow. Okay.
Um, yeah, and so they were just finishing off their so now they were just doing their alien series. Um, and I logged on and I noticed I actually already had some items because it turned out I'd logged on once before, like a couple of weeks or months back, but just didn't understand it and didn't play. And it's just because I'd logged onto it randomly. Um, and so I played a bit then. And then when I officially started playing was Lava Map 1 towards the end of it. When they were doing like they had that big event where the volcano like exploded and stuff to to end Robin Preston's series, um, and then then lava reset and it became map 2, and then I started playing it properly with my friend on lava, just my IRL friend, because we knew we stood no chance playing on the planet where the YouTubers were actually on, because that's where all the big boys and girls were, and they would just destroy you. Like you would get wiped out easily, especially if you didn't know what you're doing, like me and my friend did at the time. And all we did for that entire season was we would wait at Warp Hills for the envoy to happen, because envoys were crazy back then. They're still crazy to this day, but they were like crazy back then, because it was really one of the only ways you could actually get enchant books, because there was no enchant or anything. You couldn't buy enchants with XP. The only way you could get them was through enchant books that came in envoys, and they were a really rare drop back then as well. So we would just camp them, get all the items, sell some of the good stuff, and then put the rest in our base. And our base, by the way, was literally off of spawn, like 100 blocks off of spawn, and it was an old abandoned base that had been blown up several times and was made out of wooden planks. Uh, and it was, the only protection was some water plopped on the top, and it wasn't even corner protected. And it was only 1 thick on the wall, the water, so it was trashy. And I remember I spent 2.5 weeks saving up enough money to cover the whole entire actual base in obsidian. And we thought we were OP because it was like, yo, we've got an obsidian protected base. We're OP, no one can raid us. And then 2 months later, because ironically our base had survived all this time, it hadn't been raided, because nobody thought anyone was stupid enough to actually have a base next to spawn. Not only that, it didn't look like it was worth anything. And 2 months later, we'd saved up enough money to buy an iron golem spawner. We had 1 single IG spawner, and we thought we were OP.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we got raided 2 days later while I was AFK in the IGs. It took them 2 seconds to raid us with a 2-button OP cannon. And I remember I was so salty. So salty.
See, that's funny because when you joined Cosmic, there was 2 planets.
Yeah.
When I joined Cosmic, there was 14 planets.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know how I picked Void. I just ended up going to Void, but that was the path it took me. And it's funny that you mentioned envoys were OP, because funny story. So I played for, I want to say, like 2 days, and then was like, I had one faction that invited me, and they were like super noob faction. Like only one person in the faction was top rank. Everyone else was like 2nd or 3rd rank. And so I got like a little bit of information on how to play, a little bit of information on what to do, and then I bought a 2nd rank on the store so that I could /sell hands, so I could /fix, do some of the things that I kept bugging my faction to help me with. So ended up doing that. Not even 2-3 days after I bought the 2nd rank, I'm doing envoys because, like you said, that's what we did. So I was got up for work one day, and while I was working, I was sitting at Warp Icy, and envoy happened, went down, started getting the chest, got a freaking top rank note out of a chest. claimed that thing instantly and ran away. And my faction at the time could not believe it. They were like, "No way! Like, no way!" Like, it was hilarious because I was the second person in our faction to have top rank, and then we got raided like 2 days later, and everybody took the cave spider spawners that we had and skeletons and stuff. So it was crappy, but yeah, I don't know where I'd be if I didn't find that top rank because that helps you play so much. It helps to have so much more fun with that top rank.
Mm.
And I don't know if I would have been able to play without it. But that, yeah, envoys were OP for sure.
Yeah, well, this is something interesting I just found. My original recruitment thread on April 3rd, 2015, for my faction at the time, which I ran, which was called Excess. Uh, April 3rd, 2015. It's like first things first. If you do get into the faction, you will not be allowed to access my Iron Golem grinder straight away. This is down to the fact I don't want to lose several $1 million in a heartbeat down to someone betraying me. You are not allowed to TPA anyone into any of our base without permission from me and my co-owner Riley. Oh gosh. Look, I even asked them for their Skype back then.
Skype.
Yeah, I asked them for the Skype. Bruh, that's actually crazy to me that that's still on the forums. But yeah, so the planets I played would have been Lava, then what did I move on to after Lava? It would have been Dragon. Yeah, it would have been Dragon Planet Map 1. Because I remember the announcement post it, and I was like, bro, we gotta we've got to try out something new. We've got to go onto Dragon. And on Dragon, I remember that was when I met the people that a lot of them are now known to these days as Mayhem. Um,
Mm.
and I remember meeting Sacrifice as well, they were called. It was run by somebody whose agent was Stuart C. And they were like the big boys back then. And this is when I'd started playing like seriously, and I just got my first IRL job, so I had some cash on me. So it was the first planet I ever bought my top rank on. The first planet I had top rank on, and I paid to win quite a lot back then. So I started to become more well known then. Um, and I remember talking with Stuart a lot, and in the end, I actually ended up in Sacrifice, and I became the co-leader of Sacrifice. And we truced with Mayhem back then as well, because I think Dragon was like one of their first planets, so they weren't that well known either. And then after Dragon was when we moved on to Spirit. I moved on to Spirit kind of solo because a lot of Sacrifice then had quit. I can't remember why, but a lot of them had left. Um, in Spirit, I was the second person ever on the planet to buy top rank. So on release day, having slash fly going around the Nether was OP. Like I had so many blaze spawners, people were reporting me on the forums because they thought I was duping, which was great. It was great. And we got a corner claim, and we set up the base, and we properly set up the base. Like it had regen walls, which back then were like there was questions on if they were gonna get banned because they were that OP. My regen, I only had one proper wrap that was actual legit regen walls. All the rest were fake, but no one ever decided to check them back then because Spirit Map 1 wasn't really that competitive when it came to raiding and stuff. People didn't really raid. Um, and then that was about the time that Nebula was announced, the seasonal planet. And that's when a lot of Mayhem and Sacrifice started coming back because they wanted to play on Nebula. So we started playing Nebula, which, for those that don't know, was like a seasonal galaxy, which there was really no pay to win in it. You paid to access, and I think it was something like $25, and you got basically the equivalent of top rank perms, and then you could play. And there was a cash prize at the end of the season. Was it a cash prize or was it? Can't remember if it was a cash prize or if it was actually. I think it was just a gift card. You got a pretty good gift card for the server store at the end of the season. Um, so we played that, and then halfway through that, I remember I was grinding my blazers, and I got frozen. and I was in a call in the TeamSpeak call with the whole faction at the time, and I was like, I just got frozen. And then they all suddenly started screaming, "Slayer's hacking! Slayer's hacking! He's using mob aura! They're good about it!"
Oh
I
my
was like, "I'm not
god.
hacking." Um, I got moved into TeamSpeak, and that is when I had my interview for staff, which was now checking the forums for this May 24th, 2016. Um, and that's when I became helper. Uh, a month later, I became mod, and at that point, I left my faction at the time because they were planning on doing some insides and stuff, and I really didn't agree with insiding because it's just, it's just dirty in my opinion. Like, you don't do that. But back then, if I remember correctly, it wasn't actually against the rules.
No.
Um, so you could openly plan those kind of things and do those kind of things. And I remember having a conversation with Aaron about it, and I was like, I don't want to be affiliated with these people if they're going to do this. So just to let you know, I'm not going to be playing factions anymore, but I'm loving doing the staffing side of things, so I'm going to continue doing that. Um, and that is when I was introduced to the faction Ganja at the time, who were competing, who are our main competitors actually at the time on Nebula. And I joined them. We won that season. We absolutely owned it. I loved it. Nebula map one, absolutely owned it. And then I remember I applied for band team, and that is when I became band team. And then I want to say it was March 2017 when I was offered the position of admin on Cosmic Prisons. And pretty much since then, the rest is pretty much history. You all know the rest. And if you don't know the rest, one of the good places to go would be my anniversary posts on the server announcements, because I talk about a lot of what's happened that year and a lot of like quote unquote fun facts and story time with Slayer. Still not as good as story time with Yiprin, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Um, but yeah, if anybody does have any more questions when it comes to that kind of stuff, like the story behind all those things and like prisons and what have you, feel free to post them in the Discord questions in my Discord. And we may go on to them in a future episode, because there is quite a lot more detail I could go on with that, but we could be here for hours with that.
That's true.
Um, but yeah, that's my story of how I got into Minecraft and Cosmic in general and staffing.
Nice.
Do you have anything, or do you want to go on to some of these questions we have written down?
We can try to hit some of these questions up.
Okay, so the first one I have on the list is, how are you dealing with the pandemic?
I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. It's not really much different than before. So I work from home. So I don't just work for Cosmic. I know a lot of people ask that question. Is Cosmic your main job? For me, the answer is no. I actually have a IRL job where I work for an insurance company. You can actually see over here behind my shoulder, there's a couple of monitors, a keyboard. That's actually my work setup for my work. I've been working at home for the last 5 years. So my wife's a stay-at-home mom. Kids are homeschooled. So to be honest with you, we've been training for a pandemic for the last few years. It hasn't really changed anything. The only thing that's really changed is just when you do decide to go out anywhere, when you do decide to, like, say, go to the park or go for a drive to to a drive-through restaurant or something. You can't go in and sit down like we maybe sometimes would, or you can't go out to some public places like a trampoline park that we used to go to. So things like that. But yeah, other than like just those slight little things, it's really not a whole lot different. It's just finding things that the kids can do really outside or in the backyard, and that's about it. Everything else is pretty much the same for me.
Yeah.
What about
I
you? Anything
mean,
different for you?
for the most part, again, for me, it's kind of the same, because I've been like, I obviously I work from home. If that wasn't a shocker to any of you, Uh,
No.
so for the most part, much hasn't changed for me either. I guess what you could say where it has changed for me is my missus. She is working from home as well, or had to for a bit, because obviously the whole of the UK was in lockdown, so everybody had to work from home. So that was a bit weird to start off with. The only other differences would be like going to the shop and stuff. I remember when we first went into lockdown, I went to the shop, um, and it was just so weird. It was really alien. Like there was no cars on the road. It was pretty much dead silent. Went to the shop and there was a line outside of about 20 different people, and they were all 2 meters apart, just complete silence, just wearing the masks, just in the line. It was like I was in a movie, like, like
That's
Independence Day or something.
that's like
Like
apocalypse
everybody
type
knew,
stuff.
like, yeah, like the end of the world was coming or something. Um, so it was just really, really strange. But no, apart from that, really, it's not been that much different. Just, bit of a pain to get to the shop, and when you couldn't get to the shop, like ordering online was a pain as well, because literally everywhere, like all the major supermarkets and stuff, you could order food from them, like for your shopping, like 3 weeks in advance, and they were all just fully booked out for the next 3 weeks, every single one of them. Like you couldn't order from anybody. Um, so yeah, apart from those little things, it's not been that much different for me. I mean, work-wise, it's been busier for obvious reasons, because a lot of you are at home, or a lot of you were at home, so obviously more people are online gaming. But apart from that, no, it wasn't really any different. Um, On to the next question. We pretty much we sort of answered this. Is how did you guys meet? And pretty much through Cosmic and through staffing.
Yep.
I don't really think there's anything more to say on that. This is a good question. This one's better for you than it is for me. What made you decide to start streaming?
Um. Well, so I tried out streaming like 5 years ago. Like not really like full time or like consistently, but I like hit the live button, had like a basic scene, and played some Dota on Twitch. That was like 5 years ago. But again, I that wasn't really anything serious. I was kind of just goofing around. Um, but I don't know. I just it was coming up to my birthday, and I was just kind of thinking about Twitch. I was watching a lot of Twitch at that time. I was watching a lot of YouTube at that time, and it just was one of those things where I downloaded Streamlabs OBS and oh, that's what I remember. So when I first tried streaming like 5 years ago, it was straight OBS. There was no Streamlabs. It was just straight
Mm.
OBS, and it was a lot more complicating to understand for somebody like me. I wasn't normally into that kind of programming, so to try to figure out how to do scenes and how to do different things, it wasn't easy. So that didn't last very long. But when I saw Streamlabs OBS and I saw how easy it was to make scenes and how easy it was to kind of create everything, I actually I worked on my stream for probably a couple of weeks prior to my actual start date, because I just wanted to goof around with it and see how everything looked and see if it was going to be cool. And but yeah, I think I was already playing video games. Like I would get off work late at night, and I'd get off work. The kids would already be in bed and sleeping, so I'd just jump onto a video game and play a video game or play a couple video games. And so I thought, well, why not just hit the live button, start streaming, just see how it goes. And as soon as I started doing it, I was like, well, this is fun. Like I like the enjoyment. It's enjoying to me to be able to kind of just be able to talk to anybody who decides to come in and chat it up and discuss different kinds of things. And I started thinking, well, shoot, I could just if I can just be consistent, this could be something that would be fun to do for a while. And it just kind of grew some legs and kind of started walking from there. I got affiliate super quick on uh, Twitch because of at that time I was band team on Cosmic. So I did a couple of Cosmic streams where I was going around to the planets and goofing around with people and uh, just doing some different kind of content type streams like that. And that really helped boost the numbers and just kind of make it one of those things where I was like, yeah, this is actually really fun. And yeah, it just kind of went from there.
Fair enough. I guess for me, obviously, I started watching you stream. And at that point, I remember talking to you in your stream chat. I was like, this looks freaking cool. I want to do this. And you was kind of like, bro, go
Do it.
for it, man. Like,
Do it.
do it. Like, what are you talking about? Do it.
Don't talk about
Um,
it. Just do it.
and I was like, I think that would actually be a really good idea because, being the CM of prisons and what have you, it's a really good way to communicate with you guys, seeing how things are, what you're thinking of XYZ, what do you think of this update, what do you think of this we just released, what are your difficulties, and just communicating with you guys. It's kind of in my job title, community manager. And so that was pretty much the main reason why I started streaming, was because of that. And then I remember like a week into streaming, like I just ended the stream and it was like, yo, you got affiliate, bro. And I was like, bro, I'm actually really freaking enjoying this. Like, not just for the aspect of like, you know, the job aspect of it and helping me being a community manager, but just it was fun in general. I love doing it. Um, and so from there, I started like really investing a lot of like my free time into it as well. Um, and it kind of just went from there. Like I for the first like 6 to 9 months, all I did was Minecraft. Like I was scared to stream anything else at first because I was like, I don't know if they're gonna like it. Like, I've grown the community I have on Twitch around Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm doing this because I enjoy it, and I want to be able to enjoy it every single time I stream. I don't want to stream something and be like, I'm just doing this because Minecraft, and that's what they like. I want to be able to do this because I like doing it as well. And I didn't want to lose that sense of enjoying what I do. So that's when I started at the time. I think, what was it? Started doing a couple of the stream. It's like those mini stream games. We did marbles on stream at some points, and then there was
Jackbox.
Jackbox. That's it, Jackbox party packs, and then that's when I think that's when Tarkov started to become a big thing as well. And that's when I started properly like streaming with you as well. We did Tarkov, and then I started moving on to other stuff. Like we even did Fortnite back then as well, didn't we? Even though
Oh
you
God.
hated doing Fortnite,
Let's not talk
you
about that.
despised that game.
Let's not talk about that.
And then I started streaming Dead by Daylight as well. And bro, I love streaming Dead by Daylight. I love DBD is like one of my favorite games of all time. Like I've got just under 1,000 hours in that game at this point. And I absolutely love that game. And then, I mean, finally these days we started to sway you over to DBD as well. As much as you hate to admit it, you've actually started playing it on your own.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Yeah. So we finally swayed Tator over to DVD as well. So GG everyone, we did it. We did it. And yeah, kind of the rest is kind of history with that as well. It's crazy to think that, I mean, you've been streaming for just over 2 years. I've been streaming for just over 19 months at this point. It is crazy. It is crazy.
Yeah, it's hard to think back to like what made it all start because it was just such a blur. And like you go back and look at clips and you look at like old setups. Like when I first started streaming, this room was completely dark. The only light was the light coming off the monitors. shoot, I even had streams where I was streaming in a tank top. I wasn't even wearing a shirt or anything. I was just wearing a tank top with this old headset, and just to watch like the progression from even just like the headsets and the microphone and the chair.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I had the old raggedy chair back then. Oh my gosh, that thing was horrible. Um, but yeah, just looking at that stuff, it's like, man, that's crazy. Um,
It really is awesome to see like how it has all progressed slowly but steadily. Like these days, I've got the stream lights and the soundproof material at the back, and like the stream lights, and as well as the mic. Like I love how you've actually got the same mic stand as me now, because no, I don't hear that every
yeah,
time you move the
struggles,
mic.
bro. Struggles.
I remember that drove me insane so much that I was like here, and I just remember doing a dono and you're screaming like buy this, and then a link to the mic stand.
Yeah,
Like,
I do
please.
remember that.
Oh, goodness. Okay. What got you both into video games?
I mean, I've been into video games for a long time, so I don't really know how to, I guess, answer that. Like, I'm old, so I've been.
Yeah. How about more specific? What got you into computer games, like an actual PC like games?
Well, it's funny because like when I was younger, I used to still play a lot of PC games. It wasn't as crazy as it is now because there wasn't Steam back then. There wasn't like G2A or whatever. Like there wasn't those kinds of things back then when I was like a lot younger.
Yeah.
But I would play like I would go to over to a family member's house, and I would play StarCraft, like the original. I would play Diablo 3, the like back in the day version, Warcraft online mini games where you had to like load up and it took like 10 minutes just to get into a freaking game. Kind of deal. Like it was old school video games. So I mean, I've been gaming for a while. Like I remember when I was in high school and I was at one of my friend's house and her dad was playing World of Warcraft, and this is like when it first came out. And I remember
Mm.
watching, just sitting there watching him play it. Like that's cool. And then probably a few years later, getting it and playing it, and like I said, I never really stuck to one particular game very long. I was always playing different things, and I was a big console gamer back then as well. I would buy. I know when me and my wife like first moved into our first place together, um, I bought a PlayStation 3 with like the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 at the time, and played that for hours on end with my cousins and friends, like just
Mm.
non-stop. Um, and we had, even back then we had like two or three different consoles. We had like the old Xbox original with like old party games, or when friends would come over to the house, we'd play some goofy party games. So I've been into video games, like I said, for over half my life. So this is not anything new for me.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, it's kind of the same for me. Like ever since I was young, I played video games. I remember like the first games I ever really played was when I went over to my dad's house on a weekend, because he had like the Xbox and the Dreamcast, and
Dreamcast.
things like
Oh
yeah,
my god.
he had a Dreamcast.
Sega
Um,
Genesis was the junk, man. I used to have one of those with the Sonic the Hedgehog.
yeah.
Woo! Them graphics were good back then. You play that now? Ugh. It's like, what the heck is that, man?
Yeah. I remember I always used to just watch him for hours playing them. Like I didn't even like really play much myself then, but I would just watch him for hours. And then the first ever game that I ever really played was Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaper, um, and then it would have been Halo, and then Halo 2, then Halo 3. I remember when I specifically remember my dad told me he wasn't going to be getting Halo 3 ODST, and I was really upset about it because I was looking so forward to that game, so forward to it. Um, and then I remember because I would stay over at my dad's, and my sisters would go home on a night, but I would sleep over for the night because he only had the one room. Um, I remember he'd just gone to take them on the bus, and I just came back inside, and I was like really depressed because it was the launch day of Halo 3 ODST, and I wasn't going to get to play it, and I would have to play the normal Halo 3, and all my friends would be on ODST. And I remember walking back, sitting down in front of the Xbox to turn it on, and then looking to my left and seeing a copy of Halo 3 ODST sealed, waiting there for me. And I remember literally just yabbing it and tearing off the ceiling off of the thing and shoving the disc in and logging on. And my friends were all there, and they were like, "Yo, we thought you weren't gonna get it." And I was like,
That's
"Oh
hilarious.
god." I
See,
was
I
so
remember
happy.
my first memories were like N64 memories, like playing GoldenEye on the N64, 007, playing like the Mario Karts and the different games on that. Like we used to play the junk out of the N64 with that whacked out weird triple controller looking thing. But
Oh gosh, the controllers were crazy then. Like the designs they had with them and stuff. I guess back then they were just trying to make it like, innovative and stuff, and people were like, "No, you can just stick with the same design. You don't have to go crazy with these."
yeah, the N64 was no joke. That controller was like it was like a down facing Triton. It was like, okay, yeah, and how do you hold this thing? You hold it on the outside, one in the middle, and then one this way. It was like yeah, oh, that was a good
Yeah,
controller right there.
yeah. There we go. There it is. The N64 controller. Like that thing was just crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then I guess if we're going into like PC and stuff, when I started getting into PC, I remember because I was playing so much of like Halo on the console when I was at my dad's that he ended up like upgrading his PC so he could play games on there because I was taking up all the time on weekends on the console that he was actually getting to play on the weekends. And I remember um, it was Battlefield 2. Battlefield 2. I used to play that a lot on his PC. Um, Back when I remember the DLCs came out, and the DLCs came on extra discs for the Battlefield, even on a computer. Like you would buy the DLCs on disc. Um, I remember playing that a lot as well back then. But I didn't really get much into PC gaming like fully because I was a console warrior back then, like Xbox specifically. Um, until I started playing Minecraft on PC.
Mm.
That was pretty much when I started getting into PC gaming fully. Up until then, I was purely Xbox 360 and even a little bit of Xbox One when that first came out as well.
Yeah, it was all PlayStation. It was always PlayStation. Playing
Yeah.
Madden on the PlayStations, NCAA games on the PlayStation,
Mm.
Call of Duty when that started coming out, that was always big on the PlayStation. So yeah.
All right. Next up would be where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years from now?
Oh God. Well, hopefully I'm still working at my IRL job because I plan on potentially being there for a while. So that shouldn't change. Um, would always love to see Minecraft last that long too. It stood the test of time. It went to the grave and then apparently dug itself out. So we'll see about the online type stuff because you never know with those kinds of games. But I don't know. That would be great to just continue that on. I mean, it's crazy to think that it's for me. It's already been 2 years as an admin, and
Yeah.
then for others, it's been even longer than that. So
You?
I could see it lasting that long.
Yeah, I mean, I fully intend to still be working with Cosmic, even if in a worst case scenario, like Minecraft, like for some reason did die. I would still like to be working with Cosmic in some fashion, one or another, because as I'm sure you all know these days, and as you can all see, Cosmic isn't just Cosmic Minecraft anymore.
Yep.
Um, so I would still like to see myself working with Cosmic in some fashion, one or another.
True.
Um, in a
True.
worst case scenario, if I wasn't, I mean, I still fully intend to continue streaming. Like, I love it, and I can't see myself stopping that anytime soon. Um, but in a worst case scenario, if Cosmic was to die off in one form or another where I'm not needed, then I would probably go back to what I was intending to do in the first place, which would be working as a primary school teacher and then on nights getting my degree towards becoming a pediatrician.
Oh,
So that's what I
nice.
was working on before the whole cosmic Minecraft and all that started.
I mean, you'll be married in 5 to 10 years as well. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I should be married now.
yeah, technically, but
We won't get into that. That's the story for another day.
you'll be married by then, so that'll be the next big stream.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole reason behind like being a primary school teacher was down to when I was in high school. My, you know how you have to do that work experience where you do a job, a proper job for a couple of weeks. Um, Back then I was a little lazy, so I didn't really get into like deciding my own stuff and what have you. So it kind of got to a last minute where they were like, "Yo, what do you want to do? You got to choose something." Um, and that's why I ended up doing that, and I really enjoyed it. And I still remember to this day one of my biggest memories from all that was walking into the staff room of the school for my dinner break and thinking, "Yo, I'm grown up. I'm in the staff room with the teacher." I'm there, this 15-year-old little kid. I'm feeling like I'm grown up because I'm in the staff room with the teachers. It was I just remember that, and then the other thing I remember was on my final day there, we had the assembly because it's a Friday, where everybody goes into the big hall, all the classes and stuff, and they have the head teacher say some stuff and what have you, let you know what's happening over the next few weeks. And they announcing that I was leaving, and I remember the entire school, specifically the classes that I was teaching with, all started crying, and I'm just stood there really awkward, like, what do I do in this situation? And one of the kids from the class walking up and handing me a big tub of chocolates that the school had bought me while she's sniveling, and I'm like, don't know what to say or do.
Slayer's been making kids cry since he was in primary school training.
Uh, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I would love to go back and do that while I work up to be a pediatrician. Um, so yeah, that's where I see myself. Hopefully,
Nice.
still with Cosmic at that point. So that this is a grabs. Um, so the next one, if you could change one thing about Cosmic as a whole, what would it be?
Um,
That's a difficult one.
I mean, I don't know if I would change anything. I don't feel like there's like anything that we ever, I think, feel like needs to be changed. We usually bring it up with one another
Pretty
and talk
much,
about it
yeah.
and do it. Like, there's never really something that we openly want to change. It's either if there was something that we wanted to change, we usually have a discussion with one another, and
Yeah.
then we either implement the change because it was needed, or the views against it were just overwhelming and we don't really need it. So it's like, okay, well, we don't need that change. So I don't really think that's something we really need to worry about on our end, at least. I mean, there's
Yep.
probably a lot of things that players want to see get changed, but from an
Absolutely. Yeah.
admin standpoint, I don't see anything.
Yep. Uh, Pretty much covers what I would say in that situation. But I thought we need to answer that question because otherwise people are going to just ask that question all the
Yeah.
time. Okay, so next one would be, will you both do another admin series? If so, when? I mean, like that is again, that's another question that we get asked quite often. Um, and as I've said, it is something that I'm planning on doing, looking to be late to end of summer, but obviously that's subject to change depending on a million and one different things. Because it is it's definitely a time consuming thing, and having that kind of free time is a luxury. But it is definitely something that I intend on doing, and will probably drag Tater into it as well. Put it that
Woo!
way. um, Favorite Pokemon?
Zapdos.
I would have to say either Cyndaquil or Charmander.
This
Definitely
is
Cyndaquil or Charmander.
Zapdos has always been my favorite. If I remember correctly, that was like the first holographic card I ever pulled out of a pack when I was like 13 years old. This was a long time ago. A long time ago. Before most of y'all were even born, I was opening Pokemon cards. Just saying. Just saying.
Okay.
What?
Favorite juice flavor? Well, I don't think Tater has a favorite liquid.
Nope.
Mine would have to be. It's called Black Ice. It's a really strong menthol. Um, will you shave your heads? No. No.
Not happening.
When will we get a Bubbles reveal? When she feels like it. Best admin moment, Tater.
Oh God, I don't know. Bro, I don't know. You know what? I would say best admin moment was probably obtaining admin on prisons, because to me that solidified that I was doing a good job on PvP, and because of that I was trusted enough to help out with you guys on prisons, because at that time when I got brought over there was only two of you. Um, So I would say that was probably my best admin moment, just getting that opportunity. Because again, it solidified that, hey, you're doing a good job. We trust that you'll help this server as well. So that's what I would say.
Yep. Um, so I kind of have two. I would say one of my favorite ones is kind of an easy one, and that would be when I was offered the position of admin, because like I kind of remember I was caught off guard with it 100%. But that's one of the things that Aaron is masterful of, is catching you off guard. Um, Nobody can deny that. Uh, I was literally like kind of bewildered. Like I remember after she'd offered me it, and I took her up on the opportunity. She was like, "You don't really sound excited." I'm like, I am. It's just I don't know what to say." um, and then one of my favorite moments would be when we were all playing Civilization 6 on the day after Christmas. So we were all like really like full still from our Christmas dinners, still full of the Christmas spirit and stuff, and just there having a laugh, playing Civ 6 for like 8 hours, um, and just having a good time. It was so much fun. I really did enjoy it, and we still do that to this day when we have the time, obviously, because when you play in Civ, and it wasn't Civ 6, it was Civ 5. I don't know why I said Civ 6. Um, because obviously Civ takes a long, long time to play. Um, but it's always so much fun, and there's always so many good memories from it. And the UHCs as well. Doing the UHCs, they're always fun. But yeah, I'd have to say that. I don't know if you have enough playtime into this to really say, but best DBD moment.
No, hadn't happened yet.
Mine would be when Tator brought his missus on to play DBD.
Oh God, that's actually true. That's true.
I was playing as Michael Myers, and she was working on a generator, and I got another down person, and I was holding them. I was holding and carrying them to a hook, and I walked up right next to her, and she didn't see me, and I just remember from Tator's point of view, the clip. She just sees these legs dangling just like in the corner of the screen, just like this, and she turns over and looks at him, just stood there, just like, "Hey, how's it going?" And she just screams. I loved it so much. I loved it.
I forgot I made her play
it. Best stream loots moment.
Honestly, it's still new, but I would say so far the best stream loop moment is getting partner. Being able to say, "Hey, I got partner on this on Streamloots," and then not only that, but to add on top of that, to have them reach out to you and be like, "Hey, we want your opinion on some things that we're working on, so that we can try to better the site, better the GUIs, and just overall help everybody out." So, I mean, Streamloots as a whole is the best moment, but I would say those two things are top notch so far.
Easy cop out answer for me when we did our duet.
Oh God. We got to learn to I was thinking about that. Next time we do a duet, we have to have a Discord bot so that we're both listening to the same song at the same time.
Yep.
Because otherwise it ain't going to work.
When we're singing it in the call together, it kind of sounds okay, but when you watch the clip back, you're like,
"Yep, I was behind. Why? I was behind the whole time."
It sounded so much worse for you guys than it did for us.
Yeah, I don't know how you listen to it. I'm just gonna say that. Best mod in your stream.
Yeah, that's the next one. So to give a little context for everybody watching, my missus was so kind as to put all the questions in an orderly form for us, and she put some answers next to some. And this one, she puts the answer, "Bubbles is the answer for you both."
I mean, if that's the case, I'm not gonna lie. I gotta say, Caffeine Queen is my my best mod.
Yeah, my best mod is obviously Bubbles.
So we're gonna stick
Easy
to that.
Stick
to that and move along.
Yeah. All our mods are hating us right now.
Yep.
Okay. Why Streamloots?
That's a you question, because you're the one who actually found it and started it.
So I discovered Streamloots from watching one of my favorite streamers that I watch. His name is Puppers. I've mentioned him many times before in my stream. He's a DBD streamer. And he, one Wednesday, just suddenly started using it. And I remember watching it and going on the website, grabbing some cards and started playing them, screwing him over in DBD, getting him killed a few times. And I was like, bruh, I've got to freaking get this. And I remember setting it up and being like, Tator, bro, look at this. This is this is just freaking awesome, bro. Like, and yeah, it's been a very key aspect to the streams ever since, because it's just such a good and easy way for us to make the streams that much more entertaining for you guys. That it's a win-win situation. I can't see why people wouldn't use Streamloots, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because we continue to help each other out in any way that we can. If I find something that's super cool, I'm usually like, "Hey, Slayer, check this out." And then if he
Yeah.
finds something super cool, he's like, bro, look at this. And then not only are we like finding like that's how, because you were the first one to find Slavic for the emotes,
Yeah.
and then like I would find somebody for like certain screens or panels or something, and so
Hmm.
we share everything with each other because number one, that's going to help us both, um,
Yep.
and it really helps the stream's content on both sides because like I'll think of some funny little cards to do, and Slayer will be like, okay, that's a great idea, and then he'll think of
Yep.
something funny to do, and I'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a fun application, man. Streamloots is just so fun. Even
It
though
really
you
is.
guys are rude, Streamloots is still fun.
Okay. Slayer, would you ever consider doing a stream or podcast with Bubbles? I already decided before the stream even started that our first quote unquote special guest to the podcast will be Bubbles. Not in a video format. She would be joining via an extra quote unquote cam below, which is just a logo, and she'll be here just in voice. But I've already decided that is something that we definitely have to do as one of our first guests on the podcast. And I imagine Caffeine Queen will probably join us for one at some point as well.
Potentially one day, yeah. We'll just have to plan it, but
Yeah, just have to uh, coax her in somehow.
duct tape the kids to the wall for an hour. That's about it.
Say, will there be a Bubbles takeover? You guys already know there is the Streamloops card for that. One has already been acquired. There are still two left. I think that's pretty much it for what we have written down.
Yep.
Have you seen, or is there anything you would like to talk about, Mr. Tator?
Not really. I'd say that's probably a solid day one deals. First episode, hour and
Mhm.
15 minutes.
Yeah, and of course, if any of you do have any questions or stuff, hashtag Discord questions in my stream disc. I know a bunch of you have put a bunch in today, and we will get them up for the next one. Do we have anything like officially planned for the next episode?
No, I think we're kind of seeing how this goes, and then kind of making that determination on what we want to do next. Because
Yeah.
I mean, if everyone likes these, if there's a lot of good feedback and a lot of constructive feedback, then hey, continue to do these kinds of things. Otherwise, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, we definitely want to innovate on this and make it more interesting and stuff. Like, we had some ideas with like maybe like even going into more of like a formal type with the podcast. Like, it's not always just us talking about like specifically our past or our histories, but we could do stuff like hell, even reading through like the latest tech news and games and stuff and like talking about them and our opinions on them. That's just an idea, obviously. It could go any way. But if there is anything that you guys specifically would like us to talk about, or just general in questions, as I said, throw them in that channel because we will be watching that.
Yeah, I think the fun thing for us to be able to do is because, especially because I'm from the United States, Slayer's from the UK. So
Mhm.
if y'all come up with ideas or like things that we should discuss, that like how is this different in this country versus this country, and those are kind of things
Yeah.
that we can kind of talk about and just kind of have a conversation over, that I feel like would be not just interesting to listen to but also educational on some sides as well. So it'll be
Yeah.
fun. But yeah,
Alrighty. I think pretty much sums it up then.
awesome. Episode 1 done.
Whoop.